Now, what you need
You better
is...
bisect this section here.
What you need is a log puller. I said a log puller!
Hello,
all right, it's time to start this show. I will sit over here. I am going to sit over here quietly because we have now broken the record of throwing off on the breath of starting the show. You didn't get one word out. I literally interrupted you.
Nope, and you know what? Yep, that's just how this show is going to begin. So hello, everybody, and welcome back to... I feel like so many times we start off the episodes laughing about something that had happened just before I started talking. So this week, this is all being left in because I want to peel back the curtain, if you will, for the audience to see the craziness and the unprofessionalist that is me. Unprofessionalist. That's a word.
Unprofessionalist. Yeah. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
It's okay. Tommy Lee Jones still?
I'm working on it. I think I have the cadence of Tommy Lee Jones down. I don't quite have the tone quite yet. But I saw Captain America: First Avenger. The first Captain America was on TV a couple days ago, and I looked up and it was on mute and the closed captioning was on, and I could still hear Tommy Lee Jones in my head. Because I just feel like everything he says, he just talks like this.
Always with a slight southern twang, and always just kind of very. He always feels like he's talking down to you a little bit. Like, what are you talking about, little boy? What are you talking about? That became a little bit Obama. I didn't intend on that, but all right. Well, anyways,
that's good. Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm TC.
I'm Jeff. Welcome back to Top Shelf Disney Animation Studios Library, where we watch classic Disney films in order, one at a time, 1 through 5. I was trying to make it rhyme. I forgot there's 55 movies.
Nope. 1 through 55.
There, that's
way to go.
If it was only 1 through 5 by episode 15, that means we've watched these movies 3 times. We don't want to do that multiple times. But
actually, it might be worth reminding in case there's some newcomers who might not have listened to the episodes previous to this. Anyway, so what we're doing here previously on Top Shelf Podcast, Disney Animation Studios Library, what we are doing is we are watching the entire canonical Disney Animation Studios library. Now, what this there's a very specific list that counts as this library. It started with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We've caught up to Lady and the Tramp, which is what we're discussing today. And Jeff will remind you that again when I'm done talking. And
Indeed.
It will continue
you
to
broke
the most
in before
recent.
I could.
The most recent is Moana. Now, there's a list you can find on Wikipedia. I believe we linked it through the Facebook page for Top Shelf. But there are several movies that aren't on this list that may surprise you. Pixar is its own thing. That's its own library. The straight-to-DVD Disney movies that are sequels to a lot of the movies we are watching, that's its own library. We are watching the very special, vault these movies every 10 years, release them every so often in some upgraded format, Disney Animation Studios library.
Exactly. I was waiting. I'm like, are we done? We keep going. I didn't want to interrupt you. I didn't want to interrupt you. Hard words are hard. So, that is correct, TC. Thank you very much for that fantastic recap. I feel like every 15 episodes we need to do that just because we don't know. A lot of people come into podcasts. I mean, I'm definitely among those types of people. There's a handful of podcasts that I've listened to over the years. I never started at the beginning of them. I came in like, oh, this show's been on for like 6 years. I don't know what's going on, but you kind of pick it up and you assume you know what's going on. But yeah, it's always nice to kind of just remind people and just let them know what we're doing. And yes, as TC said, this week we watched the 1955 animated film Lady and the Tramp, which I could not have told you what happened in the movie prior to watching it. And I still don't know exactly what happened in the movie Unfortunately.
Really? Okay. Oh boy,
I saw Titanic. That's what I saw in this movie. I'm well aware Titanic came out 42 years after this movie was made, but and I'm going to get crap for that. I'm well aware of that too, everybody out there.
Well, the plot of this movie does have some similarities to some other films. Oddly enough, you referenced Titanic. I will reference Step Up, the breakdancing movie with Channing Tatum.
If anybody hasn't, okay, for those of you out there that don't know TC's really good at being able to attribute similarities and stories to movies that are not the first thing you think of, but he is so right in so many ways.
Sometimes.
So I don't know. You related Tokyo Drift to A New Hope, and damn it, you were right on, spot on with that one. I'm not gonna lie whatsoever. So.
Well, Lady and the Tramp does follow the story of a girl from Lady, the dog, from an affluent part of town, and she runs across Tramp, who is from the literal other side of the tracks.
Right.
And he's from the streets, and she sees what life is like in the lower class. He exposes her to a little adventure through town, and in the end, they grow to care for each other and find common ground, and Tramp gets to upgrade his life.
Right. And obviously, just real quick, for the record, everybody, I am well aware Titanic is not the first representation of this story or the best representation of this story. It's just more well-known recently, not even recent, man, that was 20 years ago at this point. 97.
97, there we go.
Yep.
But you know what, Jeff? No one can be upset with you for referencing Titanic this way. What people should be upset with is when they go online and Google Titanic is real and just be sad at the state of youth that there's an entire generation of people that didn't know that Titanic was a real thing.
There's a part of me that dies a little inside when I find people that don't know Titanic or that didn't realize Titanic was a real thing. It hurts. It hurts deep inside.
It's so Jack and Rose's tale, Channing Tatum and pretty brunette girl from Step Up, and Lady and the Tramp. It's a tale as old as time, true as it may seem.
Pretty brunette girl. Thank you. Sorry, that hit a funny bone. I like that one. Oh,
well, Jeff,
man.
When's the last time you watched Lady and the Tramp? You said you had no memory of it. Yes, last week, and you're saying it now that you just didn't know what was going to happen.
I didn't know what was going to happen. I honestly would have to say, again, going along with what I said last week, Mike, I had absolutely no memory in this film because I think the last time I watched it, I might have been like 4 or 3. Like this was one of those. This is one of those movies that, like, my grandmother, like, I really strongly believe and do remember that this was like one of my grandmother's favorite Disney movies, because she loved dogs. I think she had, I think at one point she's had both of these types of both Lady and Tramp's breed of dogs.
Yeah.
So I remember her always talking about it. She always talked about this, and I remember watching it because she was one of the ones that heavily didn't push, but heavily influenced me to watch the Disney films. So I know I probably watched it with her when I was little, but that was honestly the last time I watched it. I had no idea outside of the spaghetti scene, which has been spoofed in every film ever since then. Besides that, I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what the story was. And going into it, the whole I'm sorry, I spaced on the owners' names. The two ladies,
John and Darling.
Darling.
Yeah.
When the whole opening, I don't know, first 20 minutes of the film or so that dealt with them getting Lady and then them having the baby and then them going away. I'm watching this going, when does this wrap around to the Italian spaghetti scene? I had no idea how we were going to get from there to there. So it threw me off.
I hope you enjoyed the adventure to get there.
You know what? I did. I enjoyed the adventure. We'll talk more about my thoughts on the film, overall compared to all of them when we get later on to where we rank them. But when was the last time you saw this prior to watching it for the episode, for the podcast?
Yeah. It's probably been 6 or 7 years, maybe even a little bit longer since I watched this. But I was surprised how much I not just remembered or recollect in terms of what was happening in the course of the movie, because there were certainly moments I forgot, like I completely forgot about Aunt Sarah. Might be one of the worst Disney villains, and I don't mean worse like she's a bad concept, in that I think she's one of the most villainous Disney villains.
Ooh, interesting.
Just because we'll get back to that.
Interesting. Wait. What? Why?
I was surprised how many lines of dialogue that I could quote just before they happened. Particularly anytime Trusty, the Bloodhound, would be like, "Oh, it's like my grandpappy old Reliable used to say." Like I remember all of that, and the beaver that gets Lady out of her muzzle. I remembered a lot of the dialogue in that scene, especially the last line of like, "Say, it works swell."
See, in the beaver, I had no memory of that scene. That entire scene at the zoo of her getting the muzzle off of her, that was like, oh, this is. But at the same time, I kind of knew where it was going, but I didn't remember it like specifically from this film, and I had no idea what any of the lines were. It actually threw me for a little bit of a loop for the fact that the dogs don't talk for the first 10 minutes. Like lady's a dog and barks and does not speak a word. And I understand that they structured it because it was, well, she was in front of the humans. And obviously she's not going to talk in front of the humans. And once I looked at it from that direction, I went, oh yes, of course that makes sense. But in the same time, I'm like, well, but they could have easily still made it be her talking, and the humans just didn't acknowledge what she said. And that might be that's proof that shows a little bit ambition of what this story was. That there was no dialogue from your main character for the first 10-ish minutes until Lady is older and she meets Scotty and Jacques, the Cocker Spaniel. That's when the dog starts speaking, and that's ambitious of Walt Disney Studios to do that at the time with a feature. But it also is the standard for all pet movies to this day. That the dogs and cats and the occasional other creatures that fall into their realm can speak only when humans aren't around. And because at this point, it breaks kind of what Disney has already established in their films, because you get like Bambi, they're all talking all the time, but even films like Dumbo and those, they never specifically say that the humans can't hear the animals talking, or like Pinocchio.
Sometimes it's implied, and some right. It's implied, but it's never explicitly stated whether or not humans can or cannot hear the animals. But in Lady and the Tramp, it's very clear the dogs can only talk around other creatures who understand them.
Right.
The dogs talk. The beaver can talk. There's the cats that can talk to each other, but not the birds, not the rats, not the horses.
So it's kind of weird. Like they have this weird hierarchy of who can talk to whom and who can understand whom. Like the fish doesn't talk when the Siamese cats and Lady are running around the house, but the cats obviously can. Which those cats. I know that song. I know a lot of the Disney songs, whether or not I have seen the Disney movie that they are a part of. I knew that entire Siamese cat song. I recognized all of the footage from it. I remember the cats trashing the house, and and the fishbowl being slid back and forth, and then, like them trying to eat I remember that whole sequence, which I think goes back to what we discussed previously, those whole like sing-along tapes.
Yes, the old younger Disney zippity-doo-dah tapes that you could play.
Exactly, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that one scene, I should have brought this up earlier. That one scene I did remember, and I did know what was going to happen. I couldn't, or like I remembered what was happening while I watched it. I went, oh yeah, that's right. And then and then I remembered them like feigning injured when Aunt Sarah.
And Sarah, yeah.
And Sarah came down. Like I remembered them pretending to be hurt and Lady getting the blame. Like I remembered that. But
though that it's what this movie does is something that's it's a complaint I'm going to have in a movie much further down the road for Disney, where it's a detriment to that movie that I'm not going to mention right now, but actually works in Lady and the Tramp. There's no true villain. There are multiple antagonists to Lady's world and Tramp. Mostly Tramp, it's the dog catcher. That's the kind of his antagonist, but not a villain. The man's just doing his job.
Right.
And Aunt Sarah and the Siamese cats, that they are the antagonists and the villains to Lady, as is the rats, as is the police officer in front of the zoo. Like, there are antagonists in this, but there's no, like, that's why. So I'm going to talk about Aunt Sarah here. The reason she's a villain is because she is that worst, just the worst kind of human being caricature of the nagging, know-it-all, mean aunts, mother-in-law, grandmother character that, like, I know best. No. Shoo. Oh, where's my baby? Oh, shoo, you mongrel. What are you doing in here? Oh, my babies, you've been hurt. Like, I like the character because it's portrayed so well, but she's the worst.
See, and that was the thing going into it. When she showed up, I'm like, okay, so that's like, because you kind of, there is still kind of a somewhat predictability to the film as to like the characters they introduce. Like I'm trying to like go in my head of like, what would Disney be doing for a villain? Who is the villain of this? Okay, well, obviously. First off, my head went, so because Jim and Darling are leaving and you never saw their face really through the whole film, but then you see Aunt Sarah's face, I went, okay, so they want you to know what she looks like because we're going to be paying attention, we're going to be with her, and I'm like, she's the villain. Yeah. Okay, I get you. We have a face to the villain. And so you kind of see that's where it was going, but I guess, she just annoyed the living crap out of me.
But that is a compliment because that's what she's supposed to be. She's this embodiment of this henpecking dowager, probably never been married in her life, aunt.
Oh yeah, she's got two cats.
I swear I'm not projecting on this woman from something in my personal life. But it's just nice that this. I swear I'm not. I swear.
Are you sure? Mm-hmm.
This movie and its multiple antagonists are played well. The Siamese cats. Quick tangent. Yes. This is once again a terrible stereotype.
Yes.
Very,
holy cow.
Very terrible. The look of them, the style of them, the fact that they're even voiced by a white lady is wrong.
And you could argue that like the Chihuahua has the Speedy Gonzales-esque voice to him, and you could argue that the two Italian restaurant owners are very over the top film Italians, but I agree the Siamese cats are the ones that are like, ooh, that hurts. Like I'm Sicilian. I'm partial Sicilian. Those Italians had like, that was nothing. I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's who we are. But but like the Siamese cats, I'm sitting there going like, oh man, that's a little too far. Bring it back a little bit there, Disney. Come on, just a little less racist, please.
It fits into that mold of the Mickey Rooney from Breakfast at Tiffany's. And for those of you who may not recall or hold Breakfast at Tiffany's in some high regard, just go on YouTube real quick and find Mickey Rooney from Breakfast at Tiffany's. And if you don't cringe, we need to have a social commentary conversation with each other.
Very true. I will. Man, there's like photographs. You'll cringe watching him act. You will cringe just as much just seeing a still frame and go, wait, that's Mickey Rooney. That's that just looks bad. Yeah. Oh.
But I do have a tweet here. I know it's early in the episode to even bring up tweets, but I just happen to have a tweet from one of our listeners who says...
For Mickey Rooney? He's still alive?
From Mickey... Oh, come on now.
No.
I find the Siamese cat a harsh and terrible representation of cats. That's from a cat lover, just for the record.
Oh, I love it. And you know what? Okay. See, that's going back to like how horrible Aunt Sarah is, and just the like she. And obviously dog lovers are going to be like, I don't see anything wrong with it. But cat lovers are going to be like, that is a horrible representation of a cat lover. You know, just like hating the dog. You're a shoo, go away, go. Like, I like cats. I'm not a huge dog lover, but I'm not remotely like Aunt Sarah. You know, like I would see, like, obviously the dog's trying to get my attention to tell me something. Aunt Sarah did not give Lady a single chance to prove herself.
Thus proving herself quite the villain.
Exactly. And I did like at the very end, we are jumping around, but it's still connected. I like at the very end when they're having the presents, Jim makes the comment that like Aunt Sarah sent like a bunch of dog gifts to them. Yeah,
she sent them dog biscuits. That was
right.
Which
I was kind of like, oh, so that's her realizing that Lady wasn't actually that bad because Lady was trying to protect the baby because of the rat. Like I liked in my head, I like to think that she had like her own epiphany and realized she was wrong, and I'm going to try to make up for it now. And you're such a good puppy and all that stuff. Like I really like to think that's what happened.
I don't think you need to think that and think it's some weird idea. I think that is deliberate because something I want to give this movie credit for is its script. Though it does follow a rather standard meet each other from opposite sides of the tracks, go on an adventure as we discussed. Everything they set up in this movie has a payoff in the end, which I complimented. Oh shoot, there was another one of our movies that we watched. Was it Cinderella? It might have been Cinderella. There was one of our earlier movies in this library that I complimented on its script being so strong in setting things up early that pay off in the end. The rat is introduced in the first 5 minutes and has a musical motif and a style to him that lets you know everything you need to know about them. Meeting the Italians on Tramp's first day out, they have a payoff later. The dog catcher sprinkled throughout. And Aunt Sarah then forgiving the dogs and sending biscuits. There's all these little details. Oh, how could I forget? Trusty's sense of smell being established as broken at the beginning, but it saves everyone in the end. Like there's so many very well constructed elements to this script. As simple as it might seem, that it's writing 101 that a lot of movies don't follow through on. That Jeff, you and I will complain about in very mainstream blockbuster movies. Like, that's writing 101. How did you mess that up?
Yep. Or like that was a perfect opportunity for you to establish this thing that comes into huge play near the end of the film. And you didn't. You decided to go a completely different direction. It's like, but you
wasted opportunity.
Exactly. I think wasted opportunity is the thing that I yell the most at TVs anymore, or even the screen at the movie theater. I don't yell it. I say it under my breath, but I still just like,
sir, we're gonna have to ask you to leave.
It's like,
yelling at the screen.
Mr. Bell, we've already kicked you out the last 4 days. Please stop yelling at the screen. People are trying to enjoy the piece of crap film that you're watching. Well, at least you agree with me, and I'm gone.
Yeah, you agree it's crap. But so the script, I want to give credit to the script for being able to set those elements up early that pay off in the end, and that may come into effect because they took more time and they're taking more times for each of these films that they can develop certain areas of the film to make them stronger as films.
Right. And as usual, where you tend to, you and I kind of like this, we kind of have this balance between how you and I have been developing on this podcast. You focus very heavily on the story and the structure and the meaning. I tend to focus on the technical aspects of stuff. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to say, while the story is amazing, this movie looks fantastic. This movie does not look like it's, well, at the time of this recording, a 52-year-old movie. Like,
not one bit. Not one
62. 62 years old. Oh my gosh. It's even older than I thought. Like, this movie, honestly, So one of my favorite cartoon movies growing up was the Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Chipmunks Great Adventure, or
the Around the World in 80 Days one,
Yeah.
80 Days one with the hot air balloons, yeah.
Right, like that movie to me just looks amazing because there's this big scope to it, and it's great, it's well done. This movie looks like it could have easily been made in the 80s. And I mean that in a good way. Like, it does not look like it's as old of a film because it's so beautifully drawn. Like, I know we praised Peter Pan for looking gorgeous and even like Cinderella looking very pretty. But this movie, Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland looking pretty. But this movie was shot in the CinemaScope format. So it's a super wide screen. It's 255 by 1, which is even wider than most live action movies. Live action movies generally are 235 by 1. There's going to be a test at the end of this episode for these numbers, so please write these down. But no, it's super widescreen, but the backgrounds are beautiful. The animation is gorgeous. Like the thunderstorm during the whole ending, the lightning bolts in it's so beautiful. And it's such a fluid motion. The dogs are just great looking. They really do look. This movie looks like it was made in the 80s. And it breaks my brain because I'm so trying to figure out how is this the 50s? How is this as old as it actually is? But it's good. You are so right about this movie. I referenced last week that Tangled used this as a reference for its visual styles in the digital painting technique that Tangled used. They used the matte paintings and the technique of Lady and the Tramp as inspiration. And Lady and the Tramp is held in a very high regard by a lot of cinephiles and people who are more interested in the technicality of animation as one of the better, if not one of the greatest of animated films. And I know that, I know Disney set out for this one. He purposely did set out to make a more quote unquote realistic cartoon. Obviously, coming off of films like Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella, while there was human characters in there and there was some fantasy elements, those movies still very much so feel like a cartoon. Those worlds don't feel real to me. I'm not actually saying Wonderland. I'm just even saying where Alice was in the park. Those worlds still feel like a cartoon world. Watching Lady and the Tramp, you go, yeah, that's a real world. That's a real city they're running around in, and you can you can see the dirt and the mud and the grime, and you can see all that and the detail in it, and you're just like, yeah, that's a real city. They just happen to have talking dogs and beavers in it.
The lighting in this is so cinematic. The use of shadows in this whole film is wonderfully handled. There are little nuanced moments of when Lady tells Tramp to get away from her, just leave, and he goes to exit. They establish his exiting by showing his shadow pause, look back, and then he moves to the gate, and then the camera turns to him. Or, like you said, the thunderstorm, the use of lightning and shadows in there. The rat, as I mentioned earlier, has a very specific technique in how they shadowed him to give him his sinister quality. And it's much, much more cinematic than a lot of it does have reminiscent. It does remind me of Pinocchio in a lot of its cinematic technique, the use of lights, shadows, and camera movements.
Yep,
which is wonderful. And the shorthand of stereotypes is bad. We've discussed that. But there is a shorthand in characterization and in the animation technique, which we've discussed previously, especially in the package movies, the characters being drawn a specific way so you just know who they are just by looking at them.
Right.
And whereas that isn't exactly as exaggerated and obvious in Lady and the Tramp's technique, because like Jeff said, it's not as animated, it's not as cartoony. Every single character in this movie is an individual. And I want to compare that to the pirates of Peter Pan, who were just the pirates. And even the Lost Boys didn't have enough about them to make them entirely unique. Every single dog and creature and person, even the ones you don't see the faces of clearly, have their own characteristics that
Right.
are very realized, and that is a credit to their technique. That's amazing.
The closest you come to characters being like the Pirates or like the Lost Boys are honestly, and spoilers, I guess, but Lady and the Tramp's babies at the end are, because they have 4 babies that look like Lady, and then you have one that looks like the Tramp. Like
There's the three little girls and one little boy.
Right. Like that's the closest you get to it, but it doesn't matter because they're all puppies, and
but
you don't need to care. All you have to care about is the fact that they had kids.
But the little scamp, I think is his name in the straight to DVD. Don't bother watching it sequel.
Nope.
He already has a huge personality, and the fact that he's just a little jerk to everyone, just and everyone's just like, yeah. Here you go, little pup, get over here.
But he thinks he's so big and mean, and he's stronger than he actually is. But I really did. The first thing I thought while watching this movie was just I sound like a broken record, but it was just so pretty. It was so beautiful. I was doing some digging on it, and apparently this is one of those movies where there is 2 variations of the film that they made
really?
for it in a good way. Pixar did this in the late 90s, early 2000s for some of their like Toy Story and A Bug's Life and all those films, where the theatrical version of the film, the widescreen version of the film was everybody was put. I'm spacing on the term. Like they were positioned in the frame in a certain way, but when time came to make like the full frame version,
pan and
they
scan.
actually reanimated the movie. So that way all the characters were in frame. That there was no, because this was way back in the day of pan and scan. They reanimated the film, so they shifted the position of the characters so they were all in frame.
Holy cow, that is a lot of work.
Right.
Wow.
and now I don't think they really don't do it much anymore because pan and scan is kind of not as big of a deal anymore. I don't think people care as much because people realize they know what the black bars are now. But this was back in the early 2000s, late 90s, when people still complained about losing image on their screens because of the black bars. I worked in retail during that period of time, and boy, I loved that comment made by so many people.
I worked in a video rental store in the mid 2000s, and people would complain all the time about, I have a big screen TV. I want to see the big picture, and trying to explain to them no, you're losing picture by watching full frame movies.
Yep.
What are you talking about? What do you mean I'm losing picture? I'm losing picture with these black bars. No, you're not seeing the full movie, idiots. Well, Pan's Labyrinth needs an English subtitle. Ugh, get out of here.
So anyways, the reason I brought that up was because this film was filmed in CinemaScope. And again, this is where my specialty, this is what I love. I love finding out and learning about this stuff. And this is for the few of you out there, techie files like me, that like this kind of thing. But when they made this movie, they made it in the CinemaScope aspect ratio, which is that really wide screen. If you watch it nowadays, you'll see it in widescreen. But at the time, not many theaters were able to show the film in that format.
Certain projectors, right?
Right. So they reanimated the movie and they shifted characters around to fit the Academy ratio, which is 1:37:1. So it was the standard of kind of like film aspect ratios, and it's still fairly close to like what is there today. Like it's full frame basically, more or less, not exactly, but it's more or less like that. So they reanimated this movie in 1955.
Now I'm not. I don't particularly care in terms of the numbers necessarily, but was this a success box office wise, or was this breaking even? How did this go for Disney?
This one did fairly well as far as I'm aware of. It was fairly successful compared to like some of the other ones still at this time, and some of the ones that we're getting into. The film had a budget of about $4 million, and it came out at like think like around 90 domestically.
Okay, yeah,
so
it did fine.
It did absolutely okay for itself. So it's excuse me, it's not Alice in Wonderland, where Alice in Wonderland just barely made its money back. But like Peter Pan and Lady and the Tramp, both around 4 million, both brought in around 90. And then like even Peter Pan was like 145 worldwide. So like Peter Pan was fine. Lady and the Tramp very much so made its money back.
We're still in this golden era, starting with Cinderella. We've been seeing the classic Disneys, whether they are a financial success or not. Actually, I posted just before we started recording if anyone had any feelings about Lady and the Tramp, and I got three comments right away of people who love this movie, loved it as kids, love it now, and it's so interesting because this is not. I don't think this is one of the first movies anyone thinks about when they think of Disney movies, and yet, as we've discussed, there's some amazing technique in this film, so much so that's being referenced in modern day Disney animation.
Exactly, and even if you want to just referencing actions from the film, just strip away the technique, but the concept of the movie, the format of the film, down to like spoofing honestly spoofing the Italian spaghetti scene. How many movies, live action, animated films, TV shows, doesn't matter. How many times have you seen that scene?
Simpsons and Family Guy right off the top of my head.
Yeah, exactly. I could tell you one. Hot Shots Part 1 spoofed it. Like, and I know that's a spoof movie, but it generally is made fun of when it's a spoof movie. But it's everywhere. And again, this is not. I don't really feel like this is one of, like you said, one of the first films people think of when it comes to Disney films. You get so many other ones.
And yet, this is a touchstone in pop culture. That spaghetti scene is, like you said, spoofed again and again. Like we keep saying, it's this very, very memorable moment. And to tell you the truth, that scene, I know it's just two dogs eating spaghetti, but that is a very romantic sequence.
It is. And it's like humans don't get as romantic of scenes as that in live action films. This is two dogs eating spaghetti.
Yeah, but even in the nuance of the animation performance of Lady and Tramp, and particularly Tramp, like when Tony tells him, you gotta lock this one down, and Lady's like, what do you mean by that? And Tramp's like, don't worry about it. And he makes this little it's very subtle, but he makes this sort of ooh.
It's like, don't bring that up.
Because Tramp knows what he means. Tramp knows what Tony's saying, and Lady, her naivete shows, and it's the little subtlety in the animation of Tramp and how he reacts to that, and then the way the song plays out, and those two bombastic Italian characters playing that music, cutting to them at the park, looking over Lover's Lane at the city under the moonlight. It's two dogs, and yet it's so romantic. I couldn't help but smile watching it, just being like, this is so genuinely sweet.
I got so sad and lonely feeling watching that scene. It made me cry a little inside.
Come here. Let's hug.
I want to be a dog that falls in love. Why can't I be a dog that falls in love? Where's my lady? That scene, this whole movie is, I think, though Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Cinderella, other movies we will see, such as Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, like we've seen, are the first thing anyone thinks of. 9 times out of 10 is going to be the Disney version. Yep.
Though Lady and the Tramp isn't this classic piece of literature, it is adapted from a short story, but it wasn't a classic before.
Right.
I challenge anyone to disagree with me. This movie set the standard for all pet movies, all dog movies, cat movies, animal movies, where the standard has been set and copied from Lady and the Tramp. Even down the road, we're going to see examples of this with like Oliver and Company and The Rescuers.
See, and that it's those movies that's what I think about. Like those are the ones that my head kind of runs to when I was trying to figure out what other Disney movies are like Lady and the Tramp? Because again, as we've discussed, it's not like any other Disney film that we've seen so far. And you could argue it goes away even.
Yeah, the closest would be Bambi. The closest would be
Right.
Bambi because it deals with anthropomorphic animals. But that's in the woods. It's in its own world. There is no man, aside from the villain of man,
Ironically.
to affect... I know, right? To affect the lives of these stories. Lady and Tramp exist in this turn-of-the-century world. This familiar, I don't know, 20s maybe, 30s?
Yeah, because there was a lot of horse-drawn carriages. And
Yeah, so
but there
probably
was still
20s.
cars, wasn't there? Like some early cars.
Yeah. The dog catcher was still doing a horse-drawn carriage, and so were the police. But there were the meet
Right.
and trolleys and trains. So it's in that turn of the century era right there.
Right. Also, it's because it's the turn of the century. I'm sorry. My one complaint about this movie, when Darling is pregnant and she makes Jim go get watermelon, there's like a foot and a half of snow on the ground. I don't think Jim was gonna get some watermelons, not some fresh ones, in the turn of the century.
Comedy, Jeff. Actually, it's worth mentioning since you are making that complaint. And we did complain about this, the stereotyping of the cats in particular. And though there are stereotyping of the other characters, they don't. Maybe the Chihuahua, but for the most part, like the Italians aren't rudely stereotyped. The philosopher dog is not rudely stereotyped. The male and female roles in this are a bit. It's that kind of dated sense of women and men. Mm-hmm. There's that. It is worth mentioning that. I don't think it's as bad as some. I don't think it's as bad as some people have made it out to be. I tried to find some articles or to look around for some theories for Lady and the Tramp, if there were any, and all I could really find was some people complaining about yes, the Siamese cat, but other stereotypes in this movie aren't as terrible as the cats, as the natives as they are portrayed in Peter Pan.
Exactly. And I mean, and the Siamese cats are only in literally that one scene, right? Like, I don't remember seeing them ever show back up at the film. So that scene is only a scene. That scene's sole purpose to exist is for that song, and just to reiterate fact that Aunt Sarah doesn't like Lady.
Yeah, so it's the stereotyping, the gender roles. That's a bit dated, but it doesn't feel. The worst it gets is during the baby shower, where the men are all smoking cigars in the study, and the women are all baby in the living room. Like that's a bit stereotypical. However, another minor complaint I would make, as much as we're praising the animation and the lighting and the cinematic techniques of this, there are occasions where the drawing or the animation doesn't fit. The reveal of the baby in the basket comes to mind, because the
baby doesn't
piece
move.
Of artwork, right? But that piece of artwork itself looks completely out of character to the rest of the film. It's this weird, different stylistic portrayal of an image. It was just that struck me as odd for as consistent as the rest of the movie was. There were a couple moments like that where the illustration didn't match other stuff, but.
I would argue that even Jim and Darling don't seem to fit Aunt Sarah. Aunt Sarah feels like it's a completely different human character than Jim and Darling, is or are were.
Well, I could make a defense of this, which always falls into that category of sometimes an apple's an apple, and I'm looking too deeply. But the humans with the most character to them are the most caricatured characters. Yes, that was a complete sentence, and it was coherent. Play it back, I assure you.
I followed. I don't know why anybody else wouldn't, TC. Of course, I do know how you talk, so that might be part
So when
of
you think of the doctor, or the dog catcher, or the guy at the pound, they are props more than anything. Mm-hmm. The humans that need to initiate things in the plots or do things specifically to characters are more developed in personality, and therefore more developed as animated characters.
Right, which you could argue that is stuff that we've seen previously in prior Disney films, that the characters that are the more serious, or the ones that you are either supposed to be like you said, crop base, the ones that are supposed to make you laugh or get more of a reaction from tend to be the ones that are more cartoony drawing. I mean, you've seen a realistic, like go back to Snow White. Snow White is a very serious, very simple drawn character, but then you get the witch that's more cartoony drawn and proportions are different. Or the dwarves, like right there, first film you have that approach, and it's still something that now that I've seen it, I look for that, and I now spot when is a character drawn differently, and then I try to figure out why. Why was Jim and Darling only ever shown more or less from the waist down? You kind of saw them from Lady's perspective, which, by the way, I dig that. I love that concept. It's kind of Muppet. It reminded me of Muppet Babies, honestly.
Well, the whole film is told from a dog's perspective, and that is another technique that to this day is still used. Like the movie Pets, which just came out last year or so, is done in that perspective. Or it's from the eye level, from the perspective of Lady and the dog. So the human characters aren't going to have... Jim and Darling aren't at least going to have as much detail to them.
Oh, and baby Lady was so cute and adorable, cute little puppy, and then them putting her in the kitchen, and I love it. Like finally them caving, being like, okay, but just for tonight, cross this off to her old dog. I'm like, yes, that's exactly how it would be. It's only for tonight, and that's where she just always slept.
Well, I want to ask you then. Let's actually discuss Lady. Let's talk about the specific characters in this. We've talked a lot about the side characters, but what do you think of Lady as the protagonist of this movie, the hero of this movie?
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed her as a character. She didn't seem helpless, because you could argue, Disney's obviously well known for their princesses, and their female leads almost, with like a male that comes along and saves them, which kind of still happens in this film, but Lady felt more, she could hold her own from the get-go. I didn't see her as a weak little helpless dog that needed the Tramp to come along and save her and all that. Like, no. It was she could hold her own. She was guarding the backyard from the rat, and was running after Jim when he came. Like, she felt like a good character. She just happened to fall in love with another dog.
You're right, though. She goes after the rat right away. She's intuitive and smart enough right from the get-go to figure out how to get upstairs and get what she wants. Whether that's making her a spoiled brat or not, that's up to you. But she has friends in Trusty and Jacques. She is on equal ground with Tramp in her world as like when she goes into his world, he just needs to show her around, show her the ropes, and he's not placating to her or talking down to her. He's educating her.
Right.
And she's able to stand up for herself once she's back home after experiencing going to prison. But as soon as she's not able to protect the baby, and Tramp comes rushing back, she just says, "There's a rat in the baby's room. Go through the back door. Go." Like that's proves her intelligence and her ability to adapt. There's criticism of her just being another damsel in distress through some of the comments I found online, but I disagree. I agree with you, Jeff, that she's a pretty good character.
Yeah, I felt like she held her own right from the get-go. Like she seems a lot stronger than a lot of the other princesses that we've seen in some cases. She's more in line. Here we go. She is more in line with Cinderella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's along the lines of she's happy in her world. Maybe it's not perfect. I think the baby, kind of intervened a little bit and caused a little bit of an issue, but she still made the best of the world she lived in. And
true.
She didn't, if nothing with the Tramp had happened, she would have continued just going about her world and her life and would have been fine and content, much like Cinderella in a very similar boat. She made the best of the world that she lived in. Cinderella obviously had it a little worse than Lady did, but
what Lady has is curiosity. She and that's again a credit to the script, that there's a development of her inherent curiosity. What is a baby anyway? And her innocence going out into the real world and learning from it and growing from it. I'd like to give credit to her as a character in that she has curiosity and she adapts and she's smart. She's not the most complex character. It's not even the most complex we've seen thus far, but there's something to it. There's something to that in her. And I like her as a character. She's a dog though. It's so weird. We're really
we are dissecting the dog more than I think we dissected some of the human characters in the films that we've watched so far.
This is true. And then there's Jacques and Trusty. I can remember being very little and wanting Jacques. I wanted a Scotty dog. I can remember being just a toddler and it must have been from this movie that developed this weird obsession with Scotty dogs. I wonder if you had mentioned that your grandmother introduced you to Disney movies and whatnot. I feel like this was a movie I saw very, very young that my grandma and grandpa played for me. I just have these as much as I remember all the Disney commercials that I saw, I don't know where my memories
you've seen every Disney commercial that they have ever made, too.
I watched a lot of television.
Nothing wrong with that, everybody. Okay, moms and dads, look how normal we are. Maybe not. But
how about the other titular character himself, Tramp?
Tramp felt fun to me. He felt like just kind of a cool guy. He felt like somebody that, like, and this is so weird. Again, it's a dog, right? Like,
yeah.
They're not human. They're animated. They're not even real. But like, they did so well at creating Tramp's character. And he makes mistakes, but he's able to. He's a little bit of a womanizer, but you only get that from what other people say. You don't necessarily see that. I never hated Tramp at any point during the film. He is
super lovable because he's such a cool. He's that kind of cool guy, nice guy, like the cool guy who befriends, like the cool senior who befriends the freshman in a movie, or
right.
Like he's not a jerk at all. Like he may be painted as a jerk in he's a tramp, right? But
yeah. But even with a song like that, I still didn't hate him.
Right, because even Peggy says or the dogs in the pound even say he's a sucker for the ladies, but as soon as he finds the right one, that's when his downfall will come. And let's hope he doesn't fall in love is essentially what they said. But I think this might be some of my favorite voice acting of the 15 movies we've seen so far, because this voice actor his voice is so perfect for the character, and the animated to his voice so great. I didn't particularly love Lady's voice, but just to go off the two characters, I didn't hate her voice. I just didn't. There was nothing about it that really struck me. But Tramp's voice acting is so freaking good.
And you know what the sad thing is this is one of the this is like the last film that the voice actor did. He only did a couple of movies.
Oh, that's a shame.
He went back to he left LA and quote unquote retired and was like a woman, or was like a clothing designer or something like that. Like that's what he did.
Really?
Yeah,
that's so crazy.
Isn't it? Like because you're like, because like all these other voice actors are people that have already appeared in Disney films or will appear in like the next 8 that we'll watch, like everything from like the 60s and into the 70s. But like this guy, this Larry Roberts, he barely did anything.
He did a great job, and it's the script, the dialogue he had to work with is great, and another moment of great setup knockdown was right from the get-go. You see how he feels about babies, little kids, because when he goes past the puppy store, he looks in on them and he. Look at these little guys. That's a character trait established right there that pays off in the end. It's Great.
Because right then and there, you know that he's carrying, that he's not the jock or the like the motorcycle type of guy who is too manly to want to like kids. You understand? Like he's soft.
If they did this movie now, Jason Sudeikis would do the voice of the Tramp, and he would be very different.
Yes. In a lot of ways.
I just laughed at my own joke. I don't care.
How dare you laugh at your own joke? DC, I sit and I laugh at your jokes too. So,
good.
I'm not funny, but I like the characters. I like them. I had no issues sitting and watching Lady and the Tramp just interact with each other. They were great characters. They were well fleshed out, well designed, well designed too. Like Lady's long ears acting as her hair was such a great, just like little detail. I'm like, yeah. So I pictured Lady as like a shoulder length brunette, just because of her ears. And like, yeah.
Jacques' mustache to make him this older, middle-aged man type character, and Trusty being this worn down old vet. And the peppiness and the liveliness in Tramp.
Well, even his hair, like the way that his hair sits on his head, you kind of picture him having like a nice head of hair. Like he's got almost like a little. Now, I don't want to say Uncle Jesse from Full House head of hair.
He's a handsome devil, I think, is what we're trying to say here. It's interesting. This movie opens with a dedication, and this movie's dedicated to all the dogs out there.
That did seem that threw me for a little bit at first. I was like, "Oh, that's
odd."
Weird.
Let's be honest. This movie's dedicated to dog lovers.
To dog, because it knows who its audience. In the whole history of the world, there is but one thing that money cannot buy: to wit the wag of a dog's tail. So it is all dogs, be they ladies or tramps, that this picture is respectfully dedicated. Actually, your owner's not the dogs, because dogs can't read.
Yeah. Dogs wouldn't watch a movie.
Dogs don't care. Cats, on the other hand, will watch the movie. I've seen it firsthand, and they probably wrote in some nasty letters about the evil portrayal of cats.
That's probably who tweeted me. Was a cat, not a cat.
Cats are, they have those paws, but man, they can type. I've seen Garfield. So, Stacey, having said that, we've talked a lot about the film. Where on the list of our movies we've watched so far would you rank this movie?
So let's see. Well,
just as a recap, we are currently tied, and we have the exact same list. Cinderella's number 1, Peter Pan's number 2, Alice in Wonderland's number 3, and The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad are number 4.
Number 4. Okay. Well, I will answer that with a question.
Okay.
Of all the movies we've watched so far, where do you put
You can't turn my question around on me. What is that?
Okay.
That'd be like asking Alex Trebek to the same question he just asked you.
Actually, Alex Trebek gives... There we go.
Shut up. I don't want your sass, mister.
I'll answer. So, before we started recording, and I feel like you hinted at it as we started here, I feel like I changed your opinion in our conversation. I think I've done that before to you while we...
You have done that before.
Discussion of a film, you realized you liked it more than you admitted on first watch. Did that happen again? Have you changed your opinion on this as we've been talking about it? You don't have to tell me where you're going to rank it quite yet. I'm just curious.
Maybe.
Whatever number you had, okay. Well, whatever number you had, I will accept it. But I am going to make this my number 1 of this set.
Really?
That I'm committing.
Okay,
that
you're number 1. All right, I'm holding you to that. By the way,
just your response obviously makes me want to balk on it. But I think it's clear, just listening to us have this conversation, just how much I admire this film for a lot of what it's done. It's close. I actually this is worth mentioning because we did get a comment on the Facebook page that we finally got a disagreement with Thomas. He really disagreed with us on Peter Pan, which is great. He actually apologized for disagreeing. I say no, because that's why we want people to tweet at us, to comment on the Facebook page, because we want to initiate a conversation here. As said in our first episode, and I suppose it's worth reiterating here since we might have new listeners, we're not saying this is the end-all, be-all list. This is just our list.
Right.
And the list we are creating right now started with movie number 11, which was Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and we'll go to movie number 20, whatever that might be. I don't know it off the top of my head. Our previous list of 10, we will then pit our number 1, which was Pinocchio, against whatever is number 1 in further lists.
Right.
But I'm glad that Thomas disagreed, and I feel like I might get some disagreement on Lady and the Tramp here. But just listening to us converse here, it's clear we enjoyed this far more than some of the other movies we've spent more time criticizing.
Right.
And
because if you want to see how different we can be, like, you look at the notes, look at our list for round 1 on the Facebook page. Yeah, our number 1 movies for both of us was Pinocchio, but besides that, we have very different lists. Like, our lists are very different after that. My number 2 is Three Caballeros. That was your number 7. Like, we disagreed how much we enjoyed it. It just happens to be so far out of the 4 from this round 2 set, we have the exact same list. But look at what we're competing it against. I mean, we had the same opinion and the same reason for doing it, though, for putting the movies where we did.
We knew this was going to be tough because this golden era has some truly fine films, and we haven't even hit the latter half yet. We're not even halfway, and there's more characters in this film, and there's more detail in each of the characters in this film. As simplistic as the plot might be, it's a credit to the development of the animation technique and the voice acting and the cinematic technique and the lighting and the musical motifs and the musical storytelling and the nonverbal communication moments. This just is a fuller film than Cinderella. But what I wanted to say in terms of ranking, it's really hard to rank these movies when they're all as good as they are. People forget that sometimes. Like when you look at the top 100 or the top 250, if you look at the top 250 on IMDb and you're like, what do you mean Pulp Fiction's only 30? That's number 30 in the history of cinema. 30 is a great number.
There's a lot of movies that come out every year, and to be number 30 out of all of them is pretty dang impressive.
It's really good. So to edge out Cinderella, to put Lady and the Tramp here at number 1 is not an easy choice to be made. Nor was it easy to rank Alice and Peter Pan where I did. It's all really, really close because these are all damn fine films. So there you go.
I agree, sir. I like your ranking. I liked where you put it, and I liked your reasonings behind it. It is, however, my number 2.
You're keeping Cinderella number 1. All right.
Yes, and it's you made a fantastic point. Again, this movie's gorgeous looking. This movie's pretty. The story's fun. The characters are awesome. Like, I enjoyed watching them interact with each other. I laughed in moments. I got emotional in moments. But overall, Cinderella still just has that little bit more to it for me. That it's my number 2, or Cinderella is still my number 1 so far out of the ones we watched. Right. Alice in Wonderland, Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, definitely, absolutely, did nowhere near this movie. Peter Pan was fun, and it was beautiful looking, but this movie is still better than Peter Pan in my book, guaranteedly better than Peter Pan. But it's very close to Cinderella, and if I could tie them, I would tie them, but we don't do ties.
We don't do ties.
We don't do ties. So overall, I personally, and I come from an animal-loving family, I personally, though, would still watch Cinderella before I'd watch Lady and the Tramp again.
All right.
And that was my deciding factor. It originally was below Peter Pan. I'm not going to lie. Originally, when I came into this, it was going to be my number 3.
Oh, so I did once again sway your opinion in conversation.
Yes, because I started thinking about the technical stuff and the story elements, and when you brought up the fact that stuff was being paid off, like that stuff was introduced early and being paid off later, I went, okay, no, that totally trumps Peter Pan. Anything Peter Pan could have done, and that's why it moved up on my list, and definitely was, in hindsight, a lot better than Peter Pan. But again, like TC said, that statement sounds a lot harsher than it actually is. These movies are really hard to rank because these are still all fun. I still enjoyed Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, but
sure. I'm curious, of course, to hear what the listeners have to say, and
yes.
So you can tweet. Twitter Pate at
Twitter
Jeff
Pate.
at Random Bell, or you can Twitter Pate at me at TC's Big Head or of course, if you're not listening to this on iTunes, you can head over to Facebook.com/TopShelfPod. Nailed it. You can comment on the movie there, or just give us a comment. You don't specifically have to seek out whatever episode you're listening to. And let us know what you think of these movies, because one of the joys of doing something like this, of doing lists, is to hear what other people's lists might be. We had a new comment from Wyatt about what his favorite movies are. He gave us a little spoiler on that, which, Jeff, I don't know if you saw, but thank you for commenting on that as well.
Yes, and welcome, and thank you for liking the page too, Wyatt. By all means, we love it. We love when people do that. Like TC said, go over to the Facebook page. But if you're not, maybe you're listening to us on Stitcher. Don't forget Stitcher and Google Play. We're also there as well.
Play,
so we're all over the place. Whatever's easiest for you.
But I do have a couple of comments, a couple of tweets this time. If you wanted to just answer those real quick, I gave you the one earlier from clearly from a cat, and how
clearly from a cat. That's totally from a cat.
So this is from El Punisher, who I think you know who that is.
I might know that name. That name sounds kind of familiar.
A fellow creative who asks, based on the beginning and the end of this movie, is
this a
Lady
Christmas
and the
movie?
Tramp a Christmas movie? Come on.
I did not see that tweet, but you know what? That thought ran through my head watching this movie. I'm like, it starts at Christmas. I went, oh, so this is a Christmas movie, right? Is that what this is? Mm-hmm. Yes, it is, El Punisher. It is guaranteeingly a Christmas movie. I don't care what anyone says.
We will count it. It's an alternative Christmas movie.
It's one of those weird Christmas movies that has nothing to do, like next to nothing to do with Christmas, but Lady is a present. So
it's true. It opens and closes with Christmas.
It does.
Really, I think what we're saying is this is no different than Die Hard. So
it's the dog version of Die Hard. That's what it is.
Why it didn't say that on the DVD or the poster, I do not know.
It's Dog Hard, if you will.
All right, and then and another tweet. Shoot, I didn't write down who this was from. Let me see if I can find it real quick. The tweet was, "Is the pound scene one of the saddest moments in the movies we've watched so far?"
You know, I would say yes, because it's just you see all these helpless dogs, and it kind of immediately makes you think about, well, honestly, because again, I'm from an animal family. Mm-hmm. I can't go to anywhere where dogs or any animals are like in a cage. I cannot do that because it just breaks every emotional part of my body into a bajillion pieces, and if I go there, I will bring home every animal that they have. I cannot go to places that have animals in cages because it kills me too much. So yes, that entire scene was. And when Lady is let go and she's being carried out, and the I don't know if that was the dog catcher, but whoever it was like holding her, and he's like, "You're too good for a place like this," or something like that. Like that just like kills my heart, because I'm like, oh, because she don't belong there. Yeah. I'm slightly emotional.
I will agree. It's a really sad moment. I even made a note of it, that the pound is so sad. That rendition of No Place Like Home, done by a howling quartet of dogs, is fantastic. And actually, it's worth mentioning, we didn't discuss music very much last week when we were talking about Peter Pan, but I want to mention it real quick here. Mm-hmm. We are entering a different style of Disney animation musical storytelling in that there are less characters doing the singing. Now, granted, there are characters doing the singing. You got the "We Are Siamese" song, and you got "He's a Tramp,"
right?
And you have a more contextual singing of Tony and Joey because they're actually singing to the animals for their dinner,
right?
But like Peter Pan had fewer songs where it was more of a chorus singing and less of the characters singing, and that carried over into this as well, where the technique is changing. It's not the characters sing the songs that we've seen in like Pinocchio or Cinderella,
right? And that style which we'll obviously will eventually get back to that type, because a lot of the ones like the second golden age of Disney in the 80s and the 90s and even today,
yes,
we're back in that characters sing the songs again. You know, you look at Little Mermaid and Aladdin and all them, but
definitely the Disney Renaissance, we will see the return. Well, we could be remembering incorrectly. We may have plenty of characters singing, but it seems to me, if memory serves, that once we move out of this era and we go into kind of the dark age, the 80s, the late 70s, early 80s, we will have less characters singing and more of the chorus or the omniscient singing, right?
Right.
So,
which is a weird, like, it's curious to know why they did that and why that was the approach that they went. As opposed to letting it, I mean, and that's it's the time of the era, the time frame that we're in, just hey, we're gonna do something different. We don't want the characters having to bust out into song anymore. It's just an interesting decision. This was a nice balance though between them. I felt like this had a better balance than Peter Pan did.
Yeah, Peter. Yeah, I completely agree, and even more so than Alice in Wonderland, which was. Well, we discussed the randomness of Alice. You can go listen.
There's a whole episode dedicated to the randomness of that.
That's all the tweets and comments I have. If you had any, you can, or otherwise we can move on.
That was all that I had. Yeah, you had them all this week. You usually have them all. Most of the ones, I don't get many, if at all, any.
Okay.
I'm so sad. Nobody tweets me.
Tweet at Jeff. Come on.
It's fine. I don't need to be tweeted at. I'm
well.
Fine.
Hey, little guy. Hey. It's okay.
Anyways, yes.
That sounded like a dog howling, but
a little bit.
Little Jeff, were there any tropes this week? We need any Disney firsts?
So it was tough. The closest that we got to was for like Disney first. I didn't immediately recognize any tropes per se outside, I guess, of well, that's right, because we did break these into two different sections. The Disney tropes of being like the villain, the quote unquote villain, as close as Aunt Sarah is, having a pet, an equally evil pet villain.
Yes, that's right. I didn't even put that one together. Very good. Right.
So we have that. We do have the trope of the lead female character being from a well-to-do family, but and coming across the street rat or the urchin or the more street smart guy,
the wrong side of the tracks.
Yep. Which we get so many times, so often. That's a very common thread. My Disney firsts were more along the lines of the technical aspect, the fact that it was a widescreen. It was like the first real widescreen movie that Disney ever made. Before this, we got a lot of the either Academy aspect ratio or maybe just a little wide, like would ultimately be like the 185, or not even that, but just full blown, full frame, no Academy ratio. Films.
Say, Jeff, don't you think you're maybe forgetting something that was a first in this film? I can't get...
I'm sorry, I was distracted. What are you referring to, sir?
The whistle talk rodents, the whistle talk gopher, beaver. But we will see this again. I couldn't tell if
that was what you were talking about, or if you were just using that as part. Okay, yes, that makes sense. Good. But my only other first that I saw was the whole not showing the humans' faces to keep the audience, which our perspective, which we kind of already discussed about, because that does pop up once or twice. The perspective or the perspective of which we are seeing our lead characters, in the world that they live in, being very different than a traditional like Bambi or Snow White film. So, but that's less of a first and more just kind of a approach. So
cool. I did look, but I could not find any theories. However, we didn't. If you want to kind of wrap up Lady and the Tramp, I do have 2 theories that I found for Peter Pan. Which, quick, another tangent here. You said Peter and the Pan like 3 times in the episode, and I didn't notice it until after I listened back to it. And like the second time you said, I was like, "Hey, you did it again." And then you did it a third time. I'm like, Jeff, what? How did I not hear you saying that in the moment? Well, anyway, that was that tangent. Let me jump back over to tangent number
I don't
1.
even remember saying that, so I'm glad that someone here is paying attention because it's not me. Oh man,
there were a couple of theories for Peter Pan. I'm going to save one for much further down the road because it applies to something else. So I will just say the one that I liked, it was that Captain Hook is an escaped lost boy, and he saves other lost boys and makes them pirates.
Oh, interesting. Saving them from Peter,
from Peter, yeah.
From Peter's wrath of killing them, basically. So really, Hook is the good guy. I like that theory because that's in essence what he's doing with. That's what he's trying to do. To a degree,
he's trying to save the kids. He's trying to make them pirates so they don't get killed by Peter.
Well, shoot, that's a pretty dang good theory right there.
I like it. I saw that and I'm like, you know what? And the fact that he's kind of loony bananas, it's fine because he's probably been doing this for eternity at this point.
Yeah.
So his subconsciously, he's still trying to save people. The only contradictory thing is the fact that the first thing he does in the movie is kill a guy. But he was playing an accordion, and
now, TC, did we actually see that man get shot and die?
Yes. Well, we didn't see. It was implied heavily.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'm sorry. Unless I see a body, I don't believe death. That's how I.
No body, no death. That is the rule.
Elvis is still alive. Michael Jackson is still alive. Pretty much anybody from the last 200 million years is alive. Yes, I realize humans weren't around that long. Shut up. Anyways, they're all alive. They're all hiding somewhere.
That's fine. And the accordion guy that Captain Hook took out is still alive.
Totally alive.
Well, I realized that was way off topic from Lady and the Tramp, but I wanted to toss it in there. Yeah, I think we've done it.
I think we've done it. I'm happy with this week's episode. I really did enjoy Lady and the Tramp, even with it being my number 2 on our list so far. It was still a very fun film, and I highly recommend it for everybody.
We can. I want to plug our Twitter, and then Jeff wants to plug something as well.
Yes,
that's me reminding you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
You can hit us up in the comment section on Facebook.com/TopShelfPod or Twitter page at TC's Big Head at Random Bell. We love hearing from you guys. Jeff, take it away.
All right, guys. So, real quick, next week's episode is going to be Sleeping Beauty, the 1959 classic, which, again, I don't remember what happens in Sleeping Beauty because I mix Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella and Snow White. I kind of mix all 3 of those sometimes. So I'm really excited to see that. We are jumping 4 years because, like I said, we've hit that period of these films where they're not every year. They come out every couple. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Sleeping Beauty and quality of it and the joy of it. I do know... Again, I know kind of what happens, but I don't remember everything, so I'm really excited for that. So that's next week's episode, number 16 on our list. We're moving on up. We're almost to the 60s, and pretty soon it'll be the 90s, and then I'll not shut up talking about these films. But, so with that, at the time of this episode being released, some of you might have noticed that on Monday, Lindsay and Colin have done their podcast, the Top Shelf Podcast. So for those of you who don't know, let's just start from the beginning. Remember, Top Shelf started originally as a podcast that Lindsay and I did. Actually, it just celebrated the 2-year anniversary of completing at the time of recording last week. So this was a podcast that we did where we watched all AFI Top 100's movies on the AFI Top 100 podcast, which there is a chance that they're releasing a new list for that sometime this year. And Lindsay and I might go back and do a couple follow-up episodes of that. However, our podcast right now that you are listening to, that TC and are doing, is the sequel to that original podcast. Lindsay herself with Colin, who, if you listen to the AFI podcast, made some appearances, are doing their own separate podcast called the Best Picture Winners. They are going to go through all of the Oscar Best Picture winners ever, and they're going to watch all of those movies and talk about them. So,
starting with The Birth of a Nation. Are they watching these in order?
They are not watching them in order because they realized how horribly boring that would be to do.
Okay.
I believe they are putting the names in the hat and they're just randomly picking them. But they started off, just to be more topical, their first episode was Moonlight. So it was the winner of this year's Oscars. Best Picture. Or I'm sorry, was that La La Land? I still don't know. It's still kind of topical. No, so at the time of this episode coming out, they released their episode 3 days ago. They're going to be releasing their episodes on Mondays. They may not be weekly like we are doing it. They're going to try to do it when they have time. They live very busy lives. Almost more so than TC and I do, and we're pretty dang busy all the time, actually. But they will be... It's true. I could barely see you anymore, TC. It's almost like we're not in the same room. But but they will be releasing those episodes on Mondays. That way there's no conflict with our show. So those of you listening right here, you will see the posts on Facebook because it's one hub. All of the podcasts for Top Shelf are going to be released on the same Facebook page. So definitely go give it a check out. They'll be posting those on Mondays, which will take you to the Ghost Test page. Those will eventually be up on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play once we're able to get them all up there for them. There might be a chance of a little bit of a crossover at some point. I might be on one of their episodes, and they might be on one of these. TC, I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind at
all. That's not going to be probably until we get into the like the 1980s or so, like the 80s and the 90s era when like we were all watching the Disney movies as kids. But they might make an appearance here as well to join in. So just wanted to let everybody know about that show. So definitely give that a look. And like I said, TC already said it's on the same page. Facebook page, facebook.com/TopShelfPod. So just to let you guys know, that's what's happening. They're not, all the Facebook posts aren't by us anymore. So don't get thrown off. We're not randomly watching Moonlight or Moonlight. Sorry.
I didn't know this was a Disney movie.
It's not a Disney movie, but yeah, so that's all. So definitely go give them a like and follow them once we get the feed up for them as well, because they're awesome and they're fun and they like to talk about movies too. Whee!
All right.
So with that, TC,
that does it.
That's up for this week. And TC, you know what? You're so good at giving us our sign off. Why don't you just go ahead and do the sign off?
All right. This is wait. No, is that the? No. Okay. All right. See when we I bumped the mic. We can. The music's playing me out. The music's playing me out, everyone. Thank you.
That's the correct sign-off, everybody.
There we go. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. And this is a sign-off. Oh, so we flipped it this week. That's what it is. This has been a production of Ghost Hat Media, proud member of the Ghost Hat Network. Find them online at www.ghosthat.net.
I like the ending.